Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Today, I am actually going to be unboxing and sharing a first look at Imperial Struggle from GMT Games. Something a little special tonight, a little different, not the usual news. So, we are going to dive in and take a first look at a highly anticipated game. That's for certain. I am certainly looking forward to taking a peek at this. So come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the grand poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. Welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020. This is episode 502 of The Daily Dope. So if this is the first time you've swung in to check out the show, normally I share the latest tabletop gaming news of the day. That is pretty much what we normally will do on the Daily Dope. Now, in the past, I have done reviews. I have done unboxings. We even did a Q&A for episode 500 and took a look behind the scenes here at the Duct Tape Studios. Trust me, you didn't miss a whole lot as far as the tour. But nowadays, I pretty much just do the tabletop gaming news. So I do want to point out, tonight is going to be a little bit different. In fact, I might do something different all week long. It's up to folks in chat to kind of decide on that maybe, and I'll roll that out there a little bit later on. But tonight I am going to do a live unboxing and first look of Imperial Struggle from GMT Games. But as I like to point out, this is certainly not rocket surgery whatsoever, regardless if I'm providing you with the tabletop gaming news or if I'm doing an unboxing or a review. It's not rocket surgery. Let's not pretend that it is. So, do want to mention, if you happen to like the video, by all means, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And of course, if you do subscribe, ring that little notification bell, because it will not only notify you when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload my standalone videos, which is usually how I do my unboxings and reviews and interviews and so on and so forth. Do also want to mention, because this is a live stream, that means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you'd like to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, maybe you've got a comment, by all means, please chime in and I will do my best to respond. Sometimes there are quite a few people in chat, so chat kind of flies past and I do miss some things. And sometimes I'll watch the show just to make sure everything was okay, sound was all right, things like that. And then I'll see stuff like, wow, what's going on? So let's see here. A Grade A says, the audio sounds explosive. That's kind of weird because I've actually got the audio level down because I thought it was too loud before. So let me take a peek here. Everybody in chat, kind of chime in if because I'm just speaking at a normal volume here right now. If it sounds like, if it's like, wow, this is really almost like clipping where it's like too loud, let me know. So just to point out, we do have Melwinius, a Gray Day, Dan from No Enemies here is actually here for the rocket surgery, not for the chat. Flaming Heron's here as well. And Oh, a great A says, no, the audio is fine. Explosive with a rocket surgery comment. Thank you. Dan says, big bucks, Mike. Yeah, it still doesn't help me much, though. It is a cool mic. It is a very nice mic. This is the Shure SM7B. Yeah, that's it. SM7B. It's not SBM7, blah, blah. No, anyway. Very cool mic. Very, very nice mic. This is a mic that you see a lot of podcasters use and things like that. In fact, I think my best friend Elliot Miller would do, I don't think he's done any in a long time, but he used to do some voiceover stuff. And this is the kind of mic that he used. But I've just got a lot of plosives and sounds and too much sibilance in my voice. So yes, thanks, a great day. Thanks for pointing that out, that the audio is okay. Because I was like, wait a second, what? I'm like, I actually just went to fix this because I thought the audio just sounds way too loud on the videos. Pinky is down here. You might actually hear a little bit of her in the background, not a lot. The furnace is just cranking. Well, it's not really the furnace, it's the air conditioning, but it's the same damn thing. It's cranking too. So hopefully we're not getting a whole lot of rumbling in my voice. So Dan says, it sounds very warm and natural. Yes, unlike me. I am frigid and supernatural. Dan says when he gets a job, he'll buy one. These are I had a hard time tracking this down. I really did. Couldn't get it on Amazon. Couldn't get it through the music stores and things like that. I lucked out. I got it from a place in, I think it was in New Jersey, that still had these available. Because once the pandemic hit, all these people decided, well, I'm stuck at home. I guess what, maybe I'll start doing videos. Maybe I'll start streaming. Maybe I'll be on Zoom calls with, my fellow employees and that. And I want my, audio to sound really good. So everybody went out buying mics and all the video capture cards they could get their hands on. So anyway, welcome aboard, everybody. Good to have everybody hanging out tonight. Anyway, as I mentioned, things are going to be different tonight. I ended up having to take my dad to his doctor's appointments today. I mean, which it was just normal scheduled stuff, but he came walking in. I thought he had left this morning. So I'm sitting there, I'm getting ready to have a cup of coffee and that, and got the kiddies out, and all of a sudden my dad walks in the door and says, hey, my car won't start. I need you to take me on my rounds. I'm like, oh, all right, okay. So that's why there's no news tonight. There's no news tonight simply because I didn't have time. I didn't have time. In fact, I didn't get home until about 2 o'clock. And I was like, oh, I don't want to just cancel the show, right? I just had 11 days off. I had, a week off. So I was like, I don't want to cancel the show, but I am like behind on videos and stuff. So yes, Imperial Struggle. We are going to jump into this in just a moment. I see Casey Board Gamers has popped in as well to chat. Good to see you. So Dan says, of course, New Jersey, the mod helps all. When I traveled around the country and that there wasn't anywhere that I didn't like. I didn't care for Texas, but it was mainly because I didn't like having to drive all the way across Texas. You get into Texas and it would be like, oh man, it takes forever to get through here. New York, kind of the same thing. Yeah. So if you were coming through like through Buffalo, New York and stuff like that, and had to go down into like near New York City, yeah, be like, wow, how long have I been in New York, man? It's like, geez, this is like huge. So I like everywhere. And people were always nice. I had a good time in New York. I get along with everybody. I'm a Chicagoan who does not have that LA, New York. I like everybody. A great A said, I'd gladly avoid Nevada for driving. Depends on where you're going through. If you are going through to like Reno, coming from the east, it is pretty damn boring. There's not much there. I spent the night in Battle Mountain, Nevada one time, and that is right near Death Star, Nevada, which is not spelled like Death Star. KC Board Gamer says, yeah, I agree. Move from Massachusetts to Iowa. I had to make that drive 4 times. Yes, one time, and I swear, I'm going to jump into the unboxing in just a moment. One time when I was delivering RVs out of Indiana and just got tired of being on the road. But it was fun. It was pretty cool. And then it was like, I just did my own thing. It wasn't like I had somebody like in my ear going, where are you? How come you're not in whatever, How come not in Big Springs, Iowa yet? So I actually took an RV up to Maine. In fact, I was 10 miles away from the border of Canada. And from there, I actually went, and then I went all the way out to San Francisco with another one. So kind of traversed, and this was like right back to back. So I kind of went from one end of the country to the other end of the country. But it was cool. It was cool. Paid pretty well, too. Anyway, as I mentioned, we are going to be taking a first look at Imperial Struggle, which is from GMT Games. It is designed by Ananda Gupta and Jason Matthews, with artwork provided by Terry Leeds. What? No Roger McGowan? No Roger B. McGowan? What the hell? I'm just kidding. The game is for 2 players, ages 14 and up, should play in around 2 to 4 hours. Imperial Struggle is available right now, and it does carry, in my opinion, a pretty amazingly low MSRP of $59. So there's some discussion of Canada. Yes, because Dan lives up in Canada. He's like, Canada, bloody hell, that's far. All right. And yes, the Canadian border is still closed. Actually, I forgot to grab my hobby knife, so let me duck over here. Got it. And excuse me for 1 second. Pinky has been sitting up on my table here that I use, and I had to clear off a bunch of her hair, and I have like one of her hairs like just dangling on my nose. I can feel it. So hold on. Much better, because I don't want to be sitting there like trying to be like, hey, it's a live show. What can I tell you? These are what the things that happen when it's live. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera and kind of dive in here. Ta-da, there we go. There is Imperial Struggle, the global rivalry, Britain and France, 1697 to 1789. This is a nice size box. It's a pretty good size box. Pretty deep. I believe it's one of the 3-inch boxes from, it looks like about 3 inches. So I'm not going to read everything out the back here, but just kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. In 1697, the Sun King, Louis XIV, emerged from a decade of war with his continental ambitions still unsatisfied. Meanwhile, King William III of England sat easier on his new throne than he ever had before. But neither France nor England could have anticipated the tumult of the years to come, in which these two tenacious adversaries would compete fiercely and proudly along every axis of human achievement. On battlefields from India to Canada to the Caribbean Sea, their armies and fleets would clash. Yeah, let's try reading English today, Jeff. In the salons of Paris and the coffee houses of London, the modern world's politics and economics would be born. I have to admit, you're not seeing any glare here. I'm seeing glare like right in my. So I'm kind of trying to be like, am I reading that right? All right, let's get this open here. If you are familiar at all with Twilight Struggle, one of my all-time favorite games, then this is something you should be looking forward to. I'm also a big fan of the designer's 1960. The Making of the President, which was recently reprinted by GMT. Jeez, another cat hair. Thanks, Pinky. Smokey doesn't shed like Pinky does. And it's funny, I can always tell Pinky's hair because Pinky's a white cat, Smokey's a black cat. Anyway, so I am, like I said, a huge fan. Twilight Struggle, love it. Elliot, my best friend, and I play it quite often. We've been playing a little more of 1960 as of late, just because it's a little different. We haven't played it as much. Even taught my nephew Cameron to play both games, 1960 and Twilight Struggle. So cool. We got a counter tray. So that's nice. I like that. That is nice right off the bat. So we're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at all of this stuff here. Do want to point out the way the camera is set up now, as far as overhead, I don't have the ability to zoom in. So because it's a fixed lens. It's what they call a prime lens. So I see Dan is sitting there speaking French in chat. They were talking about the border of Canada being closed, and Dan saying if you mention my name, they might not shoot you. I don't know. I think they're pretty polite up in Canada as far as the border patrol as opposed to the U.S. All right, so kind of jumping in here. I can tell you right now, we are not going to have tons of rules. This is a lighter rule system. I think it's a 4 out of 9 is what GMT has on the back of the box. So we have peace turns and war turns. So we have different turn types. So we got victory. This will play out over nearly 100 years. So we've got a component list. We're looking at the map, a listing of game terms. So we have political spaces, market spaces, territories on the map. I should say board. We've got naval stations, naval spaces, I should say, forts, conquest lines, investment tiles. Of course, we have event cards because this is going to be a card-driven game, just like Twilight Struggle would be and 1960 would be. So we've got war tiles, squadrons. I believe the game ends right after the American Revolution. But of course, with all these kind of games, even like Twilight Struggle, for an example, things play out a little bit differently. It's not everything plays out like history. It's like, oh, well, we're just kind of recycling history here. One aspect of Twilight Struggle and many of the historical card-driven games that I really, really love is I get to learn things that I didn't know about. So it's kind of like, oh, wow, hey, I didn't know that. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Of course, and then there's other things where it's like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe they've got a card for this in here. That's wild. So Grey Day says, just in time for COVID, my Elder Scrolls Call to Arms pre-order arrived last weekend. It is a solo miniatures game. Yes, from our friends over at Modifius Entertainment. I have not gotten a chance to take a peek at that. I like Modifius. They're pretty cool. It's just sometimes it's a little difficult. Cubicle 7 is like this on occasion too. It's kind of difficult to get stuff shipped over for reviewers because it costs them so much to send stuff over, especially when it's like role-playing games and things like that. So Modifius always sends me PDFs. So seeing that I don't review the PDFs anymore, I have Sammy do that. She, of course, she's like got a bunch of stuff stacked up. But yeah, it's we did get a chance to take a peek. I did review the miniatures game they did for Fallout. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. It had the plastic minis though, and I didn't think I thought the detail on the plastic minis was a little soft. All right, so we get a playbook. I always dig playbooks with GMT game releases. So we're going to get an example of the setup of the game and an extended example of play. So that is very cool. It's going to go through probably a few turns here as the French and English player kind of knock heads. This board is going to look really cool. And of course, I'm sure it's going to be a little too big to fit on screen. So I'll try to squeeze in as much of it as I can. So I think the War of Spanish Succession is how the game begins. I think that's the beginning point of the game is during the War of Spanish Succession. And like I said, I believe it runs through the end of the American Revolution. So complex action round, a damaged fort example. So here's a guide for card-driven game players. Imperial Struggle twists some of the rules and mechanics that CDG aficionados are used to. Here's a rundown of some elements those players should keep in mind. Event cards that get played as events are always removed from the game. This is in contrast to most CDGs, including Twilight Struggle, in which events that get played as such are removed only if there's an asterisk or other markup indicating that they are one-time occurrences. Okay. Interesting. I'm telling you, I am so looking forward to checking this out. I was talking to Elliot last week and I mentioned, oh, hey, guess what I got? And he's like, oh, yeah. It's like, sweet. He's like, learn the rules. The next time we get together, we can play. Like, yeah, okay. I was like, I can always send you the link to download the rules yourself to take a look at. You don't have to put all the heavy lifting on me. So this is the aspect of the playbooks that in the card-driven games that I really think are cool. We get kind of an explanation of a lot of these events, a lot of the historical background of. So we have ministry cards. So I think we have different ministers that we can utilize over the decades. So we've got event ministry cards, and these go into detail of, okay, so what does this represent? What happened here? We also have event and ministry cards so we've got the Empire era. We have the Secession era. Succession, I should say, not secession. So we've got the War of Austrian Succession background there. 7 Years' War tile background. Wow, this is pretty cool. The Revolution era. And I think that's probably the last era. Here we have the American War of Independence tile background. Yep, so that is the last era. Okay. We get some designer notes. And a bibliography and some credits. So that clocks in at, 28 pages. The rules were pretty short. They were 20 pages, 19. Not even that. 17, really. Because we've got the counter sheets and then the index. So not a lot that you're going to have to really, really sink your teeth into to learn how to play. That being said, that does not necessarily make this to be an easy game. And I never like using the term that it's like, oh, easy to learn, difficult to master. It's so overused, but I have to admit that is true for many of the card-driven games out there, many of the historically affiliated or themed card-driven games. So we've got a couple of player aids here. So we've got a sequence of play. And then we have a guide to advantage tiles and bonus strength. So each player is going to receive one of these. Then we also have, these are the, so here's the War of Spanish Succession. So this is a tile that I think these are the war sheets. So we've got the War of Spanish Succession, 7 Years' War, War of the Austrian Succession. And we see it's broken out into more wars. So here we've got Central Europe, King George's War, the Jacobite Rebellion. Here we got the American War of Independence. So we got the American Revolution, but we also have other conflicts that are going on as well in India, as well as the Caribbean. That's cool. So these will be out in play. And it looks like this is where the two sides are going to play their war tiles to see who wins that war. I would take a guess that it's going to be relatively abstracted simply because of the scale is why I would think that this is going to be relatively abstract as far as the battles, unlike, say, Washington's War, because that's a much smaller scale conflict. Even though it is the entire American Revolution, it is simply the East Coast of America. So what have we got here? So we've got some counters here. And these are upside down. So we've got fur market. So these look like these are kind of like mercantile tiles. So Dan says the piano is easy to learn, but a monster to master. Yes, it's also a bizarre movie too. Not really bizarre. It's just, and one of those kind of strange independent films. Okay, so this is the counter sheet here. It's the front, and we've got the back. So, pirate havens, letters of marque, rum, fruit, German diplomacy, fur trade, Baltic trade. So, yes, these are economic tiles. These are investment tiles here. So, it looks like you might pull like blindly these investment tiles. That is a possibility. Okay, so here we've got, these look like these could be along the lines of maybe these are war tiles. Yeah, because we see von Steuben. We've got Washington, Lafayette. Yeah. Rochambeau, Benedict Arnold. Yeah, so I'm taking a guess here that these are war tiles here. These look like these are squadrons. Squadrons of warships. Flip these on back over here. So you might be able to make this out. Probably not, depending on what you're watching this on. But there is print on the back of these that are a little bit different. So this is like WAS, WSS, 7-Year War, AWI. So the War of Austrian Succession. I'd say this is the War of Spanish Succession. Then we've got the 7-Year War. Then we have the American War for Independence is what it's being known as in this game. So that is the second sheet. All right. And then we've got more aspects here, more war tiles. So those were the French. This is the British. So we've got Rodney, Old Fritz, Marlborough, Clive. And then we've got the squadrons down here as well. Once again, these are dual-sided. Take a look at that. So we've got those. Okay, and then we've got another counter sheet. These look like these are more informational counters. So these are probably going to be who controls what. So I'm thinking, guess we're going to flip this over and we're going to see the French flag. So I like we've got the American flag down there with the colonies. Yep, there we go. So we've got the Coeur d'Alene. There we go. Cool, nice. So those are the counters. We got more stuff. We got player mats. We've got a French player mats. All right, let's just rip it off. And it's thick. This is not paper. This is Not cardstock either. This is the about the same thickness as the counter sheets. So that's cool. I like that. So a lot of times things like these usually are just paper, or they might be kind of like treated cardstock, but this is nice and thick. So we got the French player. We also have the British player. Then we've got a board here that we're going to use for the event deck. So we've got our draw pile, our discard pile, investment tiles, and available investment tiles. Cool. Nice. This looks very unique. And once again, this is a game where it's not necessarily it's not just a war game. This is also a there's an economic aspect to it as well. So it's not just conquest by, warfare. So got all of those. I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way here. And as I do that, I should mention what I'm thinking of maybe doing this week, because I am kind of behind on some videos and that, is not doing news this week, just this week, but actually doing some reviews in that for the rest of the week, and then come back to the news next week. I mean, there is enough news out there right now, but it's just like I said, I'm kind of behind on getting videos out. So I thought, well, and I'll show you what I'm thinking of doing, and then those of you in chat can tell me what you think. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Let's see. You can tell this is going to be pretty good size. But it looks like I can probably show about half of this at a time. Maybe. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so I thought this was very cool, the way this is kind of set up, the way it's kind of the Earth, but it's just the main portions of the planet that the French and the English were kind of battling it out for. So Grade 8 points out that Ares announced an expansion for Quartermaster 2nd Edition. I gotta be honest. I played the 1st edition of Quartermaster General. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, but that was not Ares Games. That was oh gosh, they had an oddball name too. But it was a small publisher. It was like one of their first games. I just didn't care for it. I thought it was way too abstract. I was very bored by it. It was more along the lines, at least in my opinion, it was more along the lines of just all about like supply. It's kind of like, okay, all right, Dan from No Enemies here has to rock out. All right, good to see you, Dan. He's off to the loo. All right, a little more information than we needed. Okay, so coming down here, so here we've got Jamaica and Puerto Rico. Down here we got Florida, so the Bahamas and stuff. Up here, this is the East Coast, Massachusetts Bay, Hudson Valley, Niagara, Oswego, Quebec, and Montreal. So we got that half there. Let's take a look at this here. There is a lot going on this board, I can tell you that much. So we've got a bit of some informational global demand. We've got a general records track down here as well. So here we've got the German states, Scotland, Ireland. Then down here, I'm assuming we're going to have India, the West Bengal, Calcutta. There we go. Madras. Cool. Yeah, this is a good size. This is a good size board. I think this is a little bit bigger than Twilight Struggle. I might be wrong, but it is essentially it's It's 2 high and 4 wide. So nice. Very nice board, though. Nice quality. Very, very cool. All right. And then finally, we're going to take a look at the cards. So we've got the 2 decks of cards. Oh, these are pretty small decks, too. Wow. Okay. Well, as we recall, in the rules, it was talking about these events get discarded, too. So you're not reusing them. So that's kind of interesting. But each side has a deck of cards as opposed to, say, Imperial Struggle, and not Imperial Struggle, Twilight Struggle. It is one deck that you're drawing from. Even, but it has, depending on what period it is, will determine what decks are actually in play. Hey, Kabuki Kid has popped into chat. Good to see you, Double K. All right, so we've got the French cards. Oh, wait. Here's, so these are broken up into decks. So we've got Ministry cards. So that's for the French, and here are the British. And then this is, I guess this is the standard deck. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we've got different Ministry cards. So let's take a look at these Ministry cards. And once again, my apologies that I am utilizing a fixed lens. So if I, I can't reach up, and I can't just reach up and be like, oh, okay, let me change the focus here. So we've got the Cardinal Ministers, John Law, Court of the Sun King, Jacobite Uprisings, Uprisings, New World Huguenots. Not even going to try to pronounce that. Voltaire. So I guess by utilizing these different minister cards, you're focusing on specific aspects, I think, of your country. I'm not positive, but I think that is how this breaks down. So Kabuki Kid says Jeff Engelstein was playing this the other day, and he seemed to really dig it. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think I've ever played a Jeff Engelstein design. I know. I don't know. I'm almost positive he's designing something with Mark Herman. I was kind of like, what? Really? Jeff Engelstein? So let's take a look at some of these cards here. So we've got Revolution. Of course, these are going to be all shuffled. Oh, maybe. No, these are different eras. Wow. Okay. So we are going to use different decks for different periods. So here's the period of Empire. And then Revolution. Okay. Because we do have 2 succession periods. We have Spanish and Austrian. So it's possible we'll actually use this deck for both those eras. Although if you use the card for the event, it is discarded. So, thing is, I'm not sure. Because, of course, with a lot of the card-driven games, even especially from GMT, you have an option when you've got one of these event cards. It's essentially either use the event, or you'll have a number up on the top that's kind of telling you, okay, so you've got operation points you can do things with. This does not show that. So we've got these symbols here, but those are only on a few cards. So kind of as an example, we've got acts of union, tropical diseases, South Sea speculation, War of Jenkins' Ear, Native American alliances, Austro-Spanish rivalry, tax reform, Great Northern War, Vatican politics. So these are not necessarily specific Well, that's probably fairly specific right there. Alberoni's ambition. Okay, then we have Revolution. So this would be the period of the French Revolution as well as the American Revolution. Oh, no, actually, this game does not go long enough to actually start into the French Revolution. So Debt Crisis, East Asia Piracy, Stamp Act, Falklands Crisis, Cook and Bougainville, Nucta Incident, Haitian Revolution, and not even going to try to pronounce that. L'aube de Neuf Sures. Don't speak French. Took a year of French in high school, and all I can remember is basically, where is the airplane? And, you know, mother, father, brother, sister. So here we have Empire. We have Caribbean slave unrest, Pacte de Famille, Bing's Trial, Le Beau Monde, Hyder Ali, Kohang System, Corsican Crisis, European Panic, West African Gold Mining, War of the Quadruple Alliance, Salon de Hercule, Bengal Famine, Fatherhood, I don't know, War of Polish Succession, and Jonathan's Coffee House. All right. Hanging out at Jonathan's Coffee House. Yes, it is Versailles 1919. Kabuki Kid mentions that Mark Herman and Jeff Engelstein are working on. So we've got the various little decks of cards. Let's put all this stuff back. You'll also notice there are no dice. I don't see any dice here. Kind of cool insert, though. I always like when GMT's got the printed inserts. Pretty cool. We've got the cool looking board and maps. We've got the 2 player aids. We've got the different war mats. Did I just put another one of those in there? There's 2 of them. Yep, there we go. 2 of those, 4 sides. So we've got the player aids here. We've got the cool, nice and thick player mats for the French and the British, as well as the mat for the event deck and investment tiles. We have 4 sheets of counters, a playbook, and our rules of play. And that is what we've got when we take everything from Imperial Struggle outside the box. And of course, as I mentioned before, Imperial Struggle is available right now from GMT Games, and it does carry an MSRP of $59. Okay, so I will swing back on over to the other camera. Ta-da! Yeah, I thought because I knew the board was going to be fairly large, I figured, yeah, I'd leave my head out of the shots. You didn't need to see me while I was doing the unboxing. All right, so as I mentioned, Imperial Struggle is available right now, and it does, like I said, it carries an MSRP of $59, which to me seems a pretty smashing deal. Now, of course, I am going to get this to the table and check it out, and I will have a review in the near future. So as I mentioned, I'm kind of thinking of maybe this week trying to get through a little bit of my backlog with some of my videos and just do some reviews for the rest of the week, and then we'll go back to doing the news next week. But it's up to you guys. So whoever's in chat gets the vote. Otherwise, I'll just do news. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I was thinking tomorrow's show, I could do my review of the Tales from the Loop starter set, which is from Free League Publishing, which just hit stores. I think it was today. It's now available. I also have my review for Enemy in Shadows. That's right. It's the first chapter of the Enemy Within campaign, which is from our friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. kind of do a page through and do a review of this, share some thoughts I've got about it. And then on Friday, I will review the alpha, which is one of the 2 new games from Bicycle Cards. So we finally had a chance to play this over the weekend. So anyway, so that's what's going on. If you guys are interested, if not, let me know. Kabuki Kid says, I'm happy with whatever you do. It's like, okay. So I'm just gonna air 30 minutes of white noise. Like, no, I don't think that. I don't think so. Kabuki Kid's asking, is there also an Omega? No, there is not. Although there is the Omega Man. I Am Legend. The Last Man on Earth. What have you, whichever one you want to go with. Oh, I forgot to put the counter tray back into. That's cool. People argue with me all the time. They're like, "Oh, GMT's always include counter trays in their games," and it's like, no, they don't. There was no counter tray in Twilight Struggle. I know that for a fact. So, Kabuki Kid points out, yes, that they read I Am Legend back in the day. I think it's a fantastic book. I think I Am Legend is awesome. I think Richard Matheson was an extremely underrated science fiction author. If you read science fiction or even horror, then you dig all his stuff. And people are really surprised to find out how much of his stuff has actually been adapted for film or television. But you don't hear him spoken of when people are like, wow, the greats. So, yep, Twilight Zone, of course. So Kabuki Kid says, yes, that's true about Twilight Struggle. They had to go buy a counter tray. I just have little baggies. Is what I utilize. All right, so looks like Kabuki Kid is the only one left in chat. Everybody took off. They're like, I'm boring. Kabuki Kid says, The Incredible Shrinking Man, underrated movie and story. The one thing about Matheson that I appreciate, and I think his work has not aged as poorly as some other science fiction authors, is Matheson did not have a problem approaching sexuality, which, of course, he's writing in like the 50s. A lot of his stuff came out. I mean, he was still writing, I think, into the 90s, but a lot of his more famous work came out in like the late 40s, early 50s, and he approached it head on, which you wouldn't see in most science fiction of the time. So very, very cool. So KC Board Gamers says, no, I'm still here. I'm just listening. Okay, so, well, you know what? I think I will just do the reviews in that. There will still be gaming news on the website, just to point that out. Keep that in mind. Still have some news. I've got some news coming up tonight, and as well as some of the comic stuff. Because of Father's Day, my brother didn't get the latest comic book releases to me until this morning. So, of course, if you're tuned in late, the reason why we were doing the unboxing tonight is because my dad's car wouldn't start today, so I had to actually go take him on his rounds to the doctor's offices and stuff like that. So didn't get to do my due diligence as I normally will to get all the news in. So anyway, that is pretty much it for the show. So as I mentioned, tomorrow I will share my review of the Tales from the Loop starter set from Free League Publishing, which I believe went on sale today. So I will share that. Anyway, as I like to always point out, if you like the video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And of course, ring that notification bell if you do subscribe, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it'll also tell you when I upload standalone videos as well, which I do a lot of those too. Usually, unless I'm on vacation and decide, yeah, you know what, I'm taking a complete break for a week. But of course, when you are not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Of course, if you were watching live tonight, thank you very much. Always appreciate people hanging out, keeping me company while I'm doing the stream. But if you happen to catch the show after the fact, even on Memorex, I definitely appreciate that as well. So as I mentioned, I will be back tomorrow. So until then, everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. And in this time of pandemic, I like to sign off by reminding you to be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.